Hello Tutors, it's me Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Today, as the title says, finally got round to doing my modelling stash report, display, show and tell, whatever that covers really. I did say to Cal actually on that's Brush and Quill channel, go and visit him, very nice bloke. That's not round to his house, he might be offended by that, but just go to YouTube and see Brush and Quill. Very nice bloke, very talented. But anyway, Cal had said, oh, can't wait to see the modelling stash, and I've been putting it off because I've been waiting for a couple more kits to come, well, 3 to be precise. And one was coming in a package from eModels, and it took them a good couple of weeks or more to actually dispatch it, and I'm not hacking on eModels there. They're absolutely up to their necks. As they said in an email they sent out, they're doing more turnover in one day than they would do in a week, and because so many of us are either like me, panic attack, got to get some kits in, or they're just people that find themselves at a loss for what to do. And a lot of people are in flats, so they haven't even got a garden that they can walk around in, and let's face it, you can't even DIY in the UK because most of the DIY stuff is shut down, so if you haven't got it in the house you can't do it. So I'd imagine a lot of people, if they built models as a kid, are thinking, well, you know what, I can sit at my table, don't need a lot of stuff to begin with, do you? Although if that's the case, why do I keep buying? Anyway, so yeah, Cal, they came today. Well, I've got this one as the package with 2 kits in, and I pulled the trigger on an eBay sale of a second-hand ex-shop kit, disposing of shop kits. I don't know what they called it, but another one is 72 helicopter. I think it was £10.30 or 40 with the postage, and when they just happened to, because I said, right, the wife will kill me. Also, I always said I didn't want a modelling stash because I haven't got the room, and I prefer to build stuff. I've been, if any of you guys don't know as well, Phil Flory, famous modelling and model guru, and he's got his head problems. He's got his site anyway, forum. That is the word Gav's after. His forum, it's a pay-for-view forum type stuff, but he puts all his videos up there. But there's also a lot of free stuff on there as well. He's very gracious like that. He puts a lot of tutorials up for free on there as well, and he'll often put them on YouTube as well. But he's doing some chats at the moment with his team, his pals, and they go on for a couple of hours, and they're really good to have on in the background, because that is the one thing. I mean, I put my motorbike racing on and stuff like that, but I can't really watch it because I'm too busy painting or modelling or whatever I'm doing. But the chats are good because you can just listen on and have a chuckle as you're painting or modelling, whatever you're doing. So yeah, go and check Phil Flory. That's Flory, I believe. I've just put his wash down, so I can't exactly remember exactly how it's spelled, but you'll know him. So yeah, and I've completely gone off the rails again. That was it. Stashes. So a couple of returning modelers had put up on his chat. Why do people have these stashes? They're never surely going to build all these kits. And I must admit, I held to that view myself. As a returning modeler, I think, well, why would you want 20, 30, 40 kits? Or in Tom's case, that's Ramblers69. Go and check Tom's channel out. One of the finest builders, scratch builders and painters of cars you'll ever meet. I think did he tell me he got 500? I believe he did, Tom. Something like that. But as the guys were saying on this chat, a lot of companies will only do a certain run of it, even if it's a kit that's making them money. For some reason, they knock it on the head, and you might not see that kit again. Or if you do, it's sometimes being sold on or leased on, whatever they do with it, to another company. You might not see it for a few years. So I actually do understand why modelers that have been doing it longer than me have kit stashes, because as they were saying, if you want a particular helicopter, jet, World War II aircraft, car, whatever, ship, tanks, whatever, you know, it might be gone. I noticed I was looking at getting some sports bikes. As I say, I'm into my motorcycle racing, and although you can't get a lot of race reps, there were a few of the earlier ones. Some were only 250s, but obviously I'm into that stuff, so it doesn't bother me. But of course they're out of production, and because you think, oh well, you know, I'd like to do that one, and of course it's gone, unless you're going to pay stupid money for a second-hand kit with ropey, crunchy decals. So yeah. What I'm trying to say is I can understand why people do get modelling stashes. Now mine is for a totally different reason. One, as we all know, I'm not all there up in the head department, and you know, all this corona. I don't want to go too much on this COVID-19 coronavirus, whatever you call it in your country. You know, let's not bring it down too much. But it was just the fact of it is what it is. If it's going to get you, if it's going to kill you, there's not a lot you can do about it. We are really all in a bag, taking you know, what do you call it, a white ball out until somebody picks up a poor old black ball, and then you know, that's you. So that side of it's never really bothered me. But what I suddenly had a panic attack was I had this picture, we could be locked down for a year or months or whatever. You couldn't get your hands on a model kit, and you couldn't get your hands, if you couldn't get it posted to you, because maybe they'd shut the post office down for only essential stuff. So I did go on a mini buying frenzy, which hasn't done my meagre funds much good, but I now have a stash anyway. So shall we go down it? I think there's only, compared to all you guys told me this 500, if I had 500 kits, I'd have to be building one of those hurricane storm shelters that you guys have down in the south, in the Midwest, in the United States with them, because there's no way I'd get that round my wife any other way. But on the go at the moment, as you know, the Sea Fury. Let's go to the kits. The two kits I've got on, or three kits technically, I've got on the build at the moment. You could say four. Sea Fury. Sea Fury was deckled last night. Some of the minute stenciling I left off only because I've made such a bad job filling and painting the Sea Fury and even putting the decals down. I just thought I'm not wasting my time putting these little tiny. That's not through. I wouldn't call myself a rivet counter, but I am to a degree. You know, I like things if that's what that plane had. I'd like it to look like it. But again, I'm learning the modelling, and I've done such a bad job on it. It doesn't warrant putting all the rest of the stencils. I've put some stencils on, but not all of them. I made the decision last night. But she's stenciled, put a flory wash over it probably about an hour ago. And tonight, if I get time, I've got a load of figure painting to get done. But if I get time tonight, I'll put an oil wash on her as well. And then it's another coat of varnish, I believe you have to do. Oh, I've got to put, before I put the oil wash on, sorry, I've got to put the landing gear on and the propeller and everything. And the propeller still has to have its little bits and pieces, little symbols put on that as well. So that's, but that's almost, finally that's almost there. It is what it is. I don't hide from you guys. I'm hoping you'll see a progression in me on my model building. You know, I'll get better with it over time. I do believe I went into it with the thought that, well, my painting was fairly decent, so my modelling was going to be the same, as if they're two transferable things, and let's face it, they're not. Yeah, obviously, I can paint a decent figure to put in a diorama or on a tank or something, or a pilot, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to stick plastic together, fill it nice and smooth, paint it nice and smooth, decal it all in the right place. That is a learning curve, and I do acknowledge now that I'm going to probably be 10 years down the track before I get really any decent at it, but I'll keep chipping away at that mountain. So the Sea Fury, while not done, is more or less there. Once those decals are on for me, you know that you know you're getting there. The lav is, so I'm trying to stifle a sneeze here. The lav is done. Put the last varnish on. I've just got to muddy up around the tyres that wasn't muddied when I showed you last time, and put the communications antennas on, which I'm just using thin wire. Greg Riley, go and check Greg Riley 1:35 scale builds, something like that, but you all know Greg Riley anyway. But Greg, he suggested guitar string, and I've heard him say this on his models before, and I would have done that, but it's just that the postage is so erratic at the moment. I just thought, oh, you know, I've got this thin wire here, for what it is, I'll stick that on. So you should be getting a final reveal of that, if I'm doing that for an hour or so tomorrow. You'll probably get that over the weekend. You've seen most of it really, it's just got its wheels on now and I'll have some antenna on. So that's those two. You also know I've got the Mini Art full interior T55 build. That one came to a screeching halt when I couldn't put anything together. Now that is nothing about that kit at all. I'm not knocking the kit whatsoever. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing the bits sticking the bits that I could onto it, only I was sticking them in the wrong places. So, as I said to you guys before, I believe if I put some of this Tamiya extra thin on, I should be able to soften it up and hopefully take it apart and try and put it together again. My good mate Frederick, that's from the Hobby Shack, another great channel, he's built one without the interior, but he still had to do more or less the same stuff. You know, they say they're not interior kits, well there's still a fair bit to them, and he's proved it's a yes, there's a lot more, you know, there's a lot more thought's got to go into it probably, but it's still a nice build. Please go and check his build of his T55 out, because we were doing this as a buddy build as such, but we both said that we'll just build two kits. We just said all it had to be was a T54 or a T55. So that kit is being returned to. I'm just trying to get my courage up to get a bit more sticking plastic together, you know, learning how things go. I do sometimes have problems reading the instructions, and that is purely just down to, I believe, I'm blaming everything on my head here, but I struggle sometimes with my head, and it's amazing when I read stuff that I think of, you know, brilliant, and then I just go and do something completely different. So I do wonder if that, it might not be, just be I'm a numpty. Yes, I can hear you all screaming that out now. Yeah, I'm presuming that's probably got a lot to do with it. Right, waffle out of the way. I'm just building the excitement up, see, I need a drum roll. I did think of how I was going to do this. Did I try and do an overhead down on it? And I'm not. I'm just going to pull them up and show them to the camera. Most of you won't be that interested anyway. But there's no particular order. We've got some figures up first. These are Meng IDF Tank Crew. Now these came again, they were in a sale on eBay, and I just got them because I thought I'm bound to be doing an IDF vehicle in the future. So for what they cost, let's, you know, stick them in the pile or the stash, and you know, we'll use them, or one or two or the whole lot. We've got obviously a guy on his phone. We've got a guy on his phone, obviously. Guy, you get some bottles with them as well. I've always said, I think I've said to you guys before, I prefer relaxed poses rather than fighting poses, you know, throwing grenades and all that. I just think, you know, when they're on a vehicle and round a dio, I just prefer to see them. It's my own personal choice, I just prefer to see them in a relaxed mode. Now, I do try and go onto like Scale Mates. If any of you guys are just fresh like me to it, if you go onto Scale Mates, you can track when a kit was made, how many different reboxings it's had, has it been put out to other companies, things like that. And then I'll also then go on to just different forums, not that I'm a member of any, but just the ones online, and just check different builds, you know, what people have said about them. And the consensus was these were fairly softly moulded. I will be doing unboxings literally of all these, you've got the pleasure to come yet. And I actually agree with them, they are fairly softly moulded. I thought Meng being such a big name in this type of thing, I was slightly disappointed to be fair. But we'll have a look at those as an unboxing. And by the way, all these unboxings, I'm quite sure they're covered on the internet, but by loads of other people on YouTube. But as I always say, this is Gav's channel, and I'll just do what I, you know, say do what I like, but yeah, do what I like. You know, I've got them, I'll show them. So that's Meng's IDF Tank Crew. You watch me tip this lot all over the place. Now we all know this one. This is Gav's First World War French tank crew with the invisible tank. Obviously Gav didn't know the box was only this thin, and I should have known, because I'd known listening to other people about how they only put partial bit of a bit of paintwork on there to show you that the rest of the tank isn't there. And it does say, and the guys that sold it were selling it as the crew, but Gav being Gav, I just saw, no, that's a men kit. I can't afford men kits, but I can afford that one. Yeah. So we've got a Great War motorcycle and 3 crewmen. So I did look at getting this. It's for the FT17. It's a nice little tank, and there's, as I think I said to you before, there's even rumours this sort of, now again it could be stretching it a bit here, but they even saw service as mobile pillboxes in Afghanistan, believe it or not, in the early 70s, 80s when Russia was involved in there. That's the rumour anyway. But no, it has a really long life, this particular tank, and I just thought, yeah, great. But, so again, just like the Israelis, one day, sooner or later, if it's not this particular tank, it'll be another some type of French Great War vehicle. I don't know what. I nearly did pull the trigger on this one, but it was about, for the tank, I think the tank was about 26 quid, which, you know, for a men kit, I mean, it would be a tiny little tank. I mean, this is a 2-man tank, so it's not going to be very big. But I didn't think the actual figures on this one were too bad when I looked at it. Again, we'll have a look at these. I thought they were probably better than the Israeli ones. So that's my my figures on my Great War motorbike. Now this is what I've had in today. It's in Russian. Gav's trying to grapple quickly. This is a Kamov, I believe a Kamov KA27. It's a Zvezda. It's a fairly old kit, 1:72 scale. I love the Kamov. I love the Kamov 25, I believe, 27, and the civilian version of 32. If you ever want to see like a civilian Kamov working a lot, there's a lot of videos for Heli Swiss on YouTube, and you'll see these. They use these a lot. I don't know if you can see, but it's actually, for those of you that don't know much about this type of helicopter, it doesn't have a tail rotor. It has a twin main rotors, and they perform the function of the one at the other end, meaning as well it can lift on a direct pull. It can, I can't remember off the top of my head again now, but it can lift a hell of a lot, and it's used in the civilian mode for putting up big communications towers, for selective logging. You know, you name it, it can lift a heck of a lot. This is the search and rescue version, hence the winch and that. You don't get any crew figures. From what I've seen, I literally opened it this morning and I've got it out of the bag. I do believe the door and everything doesn't open and there's nothing in the back. But for somebody of my skill level, probably not a bad thing. Again, I'm jumping way too ahead of myself sometimes. You know, I see Greg from Greg's Models, brilliant channel. Go and check Greg out. The bloke, I'm surprised you just can't build a complete Kamov out of styrene sheet, to be honest with you. He's really talented like that. But again, Greg's been doing it a long time, and you know, here's Gav. I come bimbling along and think I can do something in a couple of minutes, and that's not the case. So, little Kamov. It's a fairly small aircraft. It looks like a bit like a bumblebee. It happens to be one of my favourites. You can tell that they've just added it from the original Sub Hunter version that they do, because the main sprues, it's only 2 big sprues, I believe, off the top of my head, and they're in heat sealed bag, and there's just a loose small sprue on the top with the winching gear and everything that's just been thrown in on top. So really looking forward to doing that. Have I got all the paint for it? That's the other thing. I was trying to pick things that I could paint where I'm not splashing out even more money, as we all know, on more paint. I believe though I've got the stuff for that. So I'm really looking forward to doing that Kamov at some stage. I might as well say the other helicopter I've got on is the Mi-8, and that's the big transport version. Not a version of that, but it's the big transport, and it does transport and fires rockets as well. Love the Mi-8 as well, so I've got that coming as well. This is probably the next build. This is the other kit I got from E-Models. So I got that Kamov from E-Models. Grad BM21. Let's have to look at the 21. It's on a Euro. I don't know if it says it's a 43220 truck bed with the Grad launcher on the back. Grad I believe is hail in Russian, and believe me, it comes down like hail as well. 40 tubes, rifled. I'll go into more detail with this, and we will have an unboxing with this probably tomorrow, if anybody's interested. I believe Pete from Peter's, Pete, I forgot you. It's Pete in Sweden anyway, we all know Pete. I'm not sure, Pete, if you've got this, or I've just seen it on YouTube or whatever. But there is a photo etched brass set for it, I believe, for the tubes and stuff, or for the different parts of it. But I'm not really interested in that. I've looked at, to be honest with you, I've looked at it through the bag, and it looks an absolute stunner. And this was around 20 quid, guys. Now you can't get. I've been looking at Russian lorries for ages, just cargo beds and that, you know. And a lot of them are £26, £30, 35 quid. I mean, 35 quid for a lorry is a lot of money. Where this was around literally £20, something like that. Absolute steal, that is. And when we do the unboxing, you'll see. I mean, again, how it goes together, or how Gav sticks it together is another matter. But yeah, really glad. Full engine, all the chassis, everything's there. Never mind the grad launcher itself. So really looking forward to doing that. So that's 1 in 35 scale, I should say. Oh, let's have a look on the back as well. I was going to do it at something for like Chechnya, which I follow a lot. Always got me really sad seeing all the Russian lads getting killed in Chechnya. I was in the army at the time, and I couldn't believe how their commanders were stuffing things up so badly, especially in the 96 one. Anyway, that's aside the point. But I was going to do grad for Chechnya, but I do believe this is a much, although you can't really tell so much by the lorry version. It's looking over there. Why don't we just do this, Gav? I believe this was done around 2017. They've got it from a victory parade in one of the decal options for the victory parade of 2017, and it says this is satellite controlled as well. And I'm not sure if they'd have been satellite controlling the grads in 96 and 2000. So yeah, we'll probably just do it. There's a couple more for the different Russian military districts, and I'll just have one on exercise, I think. So I am thoroughly looking forward to doing that kit. So that's my grad. Now my very good mate Beetle. That's his. I won't mention his pucker name, but Beetle. You'll see him making loads of supportive comments on our videos. He sent me this out of the blue last year. Was it last year? Or was it early this year? Oh, head again, it's gone. This is the Tamiya Pink Panther. Now this was going to get done before the lav, because I've been looking forward to building this one, because he was even kind enough to put a photo etched brass in. Absolutely, you know, the support. I've always said it. There's so much crud goes around, you know, YouTube before coronavirus. You know, people, you know, you'll get the idiots playing you up and all the rest of it, and obviously in this coronavirus thing that's going around, as always, when you get national catastrophes, you get the good in people, you get the bad. This is a good person. You know, to pick somebody up like myself and that, like he does, absolutely brilliant. Beetle, it's appreciated. It is going to get built. I know you said build it any time you like, but it will get built. But there's been a couple of guys doing Pink Panthers. Well, at least one is this Pink Panther. I don't know if the other one was. And I didn't see the sense in doing load. You know, everyone. It's not a group build, so yeah, that'll get done. I love the Land Rover, as you all know. I've had 3, 4, whatever myself, so that's going to get done at some stage this year, anyway. Now this, we go to. I showed this off briefly. 1 in 48 F104 Starfighter. Now, as you've probably known if you've ever watched any of my older videos, I love the Starfighter. You know, we've all got favourite aircraft. Most of mine are post-war. I do like World War II aircraft and that, but post-war is my thing mainly. And I've got a thing for the F104 and this was bought second hand. It doesn't have these decals in. These are the I'm not sure if they're the retirement schemes. This one is actually in Ferrari's museum, I believe, because they had a connection obviously with the Black Horse and everything. It's done in Ferrari colours. I actually like this one best, but I actually like them in the everyday squadron colours as well. So when I do get decals, I'm not sure whether I'm going to do a big bright one of this or a nice drab squadron one, but it'll be in Italian markings. I think it deserves that. With this, as you guys know, and you can see this Sea Fury, I'm absolutely hopeless at the moment. I just can't get it together when building anything, particularly but aircraft a lot. This will get done. This is, although it's Italeri, it's actually, I just happened to have been about 2 weeks after I bought it. I was watching Phil Flory's YouTube channel, and he was doing an unboxing of this very kit, and he knows he's built a million of these anyway, but he said this is Hasegawa, and we know that they've got a decent name. So this is one of my I wouldn't say, I've heard people say Grail kits. I'm not saying it's a Grail kit in the sense of it's one I've always wanted or anything like that, but it's a starfighter, and I love starfighters, but I don't want to keep mucking things up all the time, and I just think this would be a lovely little kit, and I really don't, and I even thought of throwing some resin at it, and that's expensive, so I would like to do this kit between this year and next year. I don't want it to be sitting here wasting away for too long, but I'm really nowhere near getting anything right with aircraft, particularly at the moment. I mean, I've got silver decals on me Lav 135 scale military build as well. So I know what people would say: if you don't build them, you don't get better. Well, I am building, I'm just not building my favourites, or if I don't know if I could have picked this up for a tenner and bought two, I'd have built it, but not at my standard of building at the moment. This is I want to take pride in this one. I do love the Starfighter, and I did have plans to do several of them. I went to Telford last year, and Kinetic had these out, and I just went, nah, I'm not doing it, because if you know, my very first model was a Starfighter that I built, and I completely stuffed that one up. And I thought, for the money, I'm not gonna wreck everything, So yeah, it'll get built as and when. This was the first ever kit I built. First ever large scale vehicle I bought and never built. The Striker. Now, it was about to get built. It's more or less, as you can see, it looks a lot like a Lav, not exactly like a Lav, but it's a command version again. You tend to find, as I keep saying, command versions tend to be cheaper. Anything with a big gun and a turret on tends to be quite expensive. But then again, saying that, so does I've just said Russian lorries, or any lorry for that matter. Yeah, so this guy's going to get built. He was going to get built, and then the Lav came along, and I just thought, I'll stuff this, I'll build the Lav. But the Strike will get built at some stage. This, and it weighs a ton, so it's going to be a full interior kit. This is the same kit, but I won't get it out of the box. Can't open up. This is the same kit as the one that I've got all wrong. Exactly the same, because if you remember, my pop ran off with the turret and slightly damaged the turret. Gav again with his head problems started going a spin, and my wife went and so a bit behind me back, but she went and got me another one. That's what she's like. I won't shout that too loud, only make her head go big. But yeah, so that's that one as well. But this one, again, this is an untouchable. This one will not get built until I can build them properly, because I am going to build this with none of the mistakes that I've done in. Even if I get that one done, this one is going to be brilliant. I promise myself. So it doesn't get done until I can do it justice. We are now down to our last two, so that's my battery as well. Got a 1 in 35 scale Piranha, another Lav. This is the turreted version of the Lav that I've just built. Again, fairly old kit. It's part of the Marine Reconnaissance. I don't know if it's a reconnaissance company. I can't remember off the top of my head now. The problem is I get too much information, it all starts going out. I did think I ordered this actually just as China was going in the lockdown. Again, it was a fairly cheap kit, and because of the price, it would go through customs without me paying any extra. It was about 20 quid, free postage. So, but I had to be prepared to wait for about 2.5 months for it, and I'll you know, for 20 quid, even if, yeah, don't get me wrong, my finances, 20 quid, still 20 quid, but if it never happened, it never happened. But I'll tell you what, the guys in China, I've got to give it to them. They told me, they kept me updated all the way, you know, and I can't fault them for that. So that's Marine Corps Lav. Now this one, I did anticipate doing it, because although it's in desert, I presume, was it Desert Storm or whatever it was in, this one, it doesn't actually have any desert call outs or anything for it, although Trumpeter being Trumpeter, I'm not sure that they very often give you actual unit details. It's actually got the camouflage scheme for the one I've just done, or a UN one. Now I plan to do this in the camouflage again and just have them both together, but you know, I'm fancying doing this as a UN. Does it got it on the side? Oh, it has, yeah. The white one, obviously. The white's going to be hard to work with as best of time. So, camouflage version I've already done on the Lav that I've got. It's interesting that they've got the wheels coloured different there, whereas on mine, call out, it showed it plain green for the other one. But yeah, I'm fancying doing the UN one, something different. So that came 2 weeks ago. I've just been waiting for getting all the stash in before I started doing unboxings. So that's that one. Another Trumpeter one. This one I got from a company called Antics, obviously online. Just as a shutdown was happening, this was about 20 quid. I was just looking for something in that ballpark again. As I say, I can't afford the expensive stuff. It's a shame, really. But well, I could if I don't buy another 5 of these, but I just have one. But this is the Israeli captured T-55 for T-54. So T-54 was a Tyran, is it 4, and the 55 was, I'm not saying that the 5 stands for the T-55 and that, but it was Tyran 5. You can do it, according to these guys, you can have it done as an Israeli one, which I might do, although I think those Israeli figures I've got are actually too modern for it. I've seen pictures of this with Israeli, probably reserve units, but up on in Lebanon and in '96, I believe. That's not the Lebanon War of '82, but this was also with the South Lebanese militias supplied by the Israelis, which has got one. I've got one on here actually. There you go, South Lebanese militias. So I might get to do a T-55 yet. And I was doing some looking up the other day, and they sold a lot of these to Uruguay as well. I have to do a Uruguayan one. I have to buy more decals for that though. Yeah, it's an old kit. I was hoping, not as I say, normally I do read ups on these before I pull the trigger on them. I didn't with this one. It was 20 quid, and I just thought I'd like a tank to do, you know, as well in the stash. And what better than a T-55 with an Israeli copy of a British 105 gun. And I don't know if I'm going to do Israeli one yet, or if I might go as far as doing a South Lebanese militia one and really make it ragtag. The only problem is sometimes whenever you see these T-55s done as model kits, they're often literally rusted to hell, you know, and they weren't always just rusted to hell, you know. So I don't know. Rubber tracks though with this, and that's what I was trying to get to say. I'm jumping ahead again. I was hoping it would be plastic tracks, but again, it's a fairly old kit. but I was hoping for plastic linked together tracks. I'm not a big fan of rubber. I did the one on the Merkava. I was lucky I could hide that behind Sky. Literally in the end it just would not go together, and I ended up stapling it. You couldn't see the staples behind the armour, but unfortunately you would do on this one. So yeah, old rubber tracks again. Takes me back to when I was a kid. So that's everything, guys. That is Gav's stash. More waffle than stash, but hey. So yeah, it's the next one up will probably, just because it does look a super kit, which would be that Grad, the BM21. I think I might be doing that one next. And then I'm not sure. I'm not going to say I'll be doing X and X, because if I don't, I don't. But I would like to get back to that T55, so it might be a case of maybe I do the Grad and maybe the Pink Panther, maybe one of the helicopters, I don't know, but I would prefer to sooner rather than later just get that interior build, see if I can take it apart, see if I can read the instructions properly and put it back together again. I don't intend starting the same version that I've got, that unboxed one, sorry, the boxed one. I don't want to touch that until I'm competent enough. So yeah, that's my stash, guys. Compared to most people, it's not a lot, and to be honest with you, I don't really want a huge one, because I can actually, now I am doing models, I can actually I can get what people say about if there is a particular version of a kit, you know, or a particular vehicle, plane, ship, whatever, car, motorbike, you know, whatever you're into, you know, I do see the reasoning in getting while you can, because you don't know when if it's gonna be around for a good few years, you know. So yeah, but also I don't have a load of money or space to tie up, you know. I can't have them stick, as Gav looks up to the ceiling, you know, boxes up in some big pile up. So and I also don't want 2 or 3 kits on the go, because I just don't have the space to do that. It's got to be, you know, 1 or 2 kits. Yeah, the plane, my Sea Fury, that would have been done ages ago. But again, the problem with me is it's not so much when things get difficult, it's when they don't meet expectations. I lose motivation for that then. But I will show that one off. It's full of filler blobs, filler sinking, decals, beautiful decals by the way on that. Those cartograph ones, what people say are really great, but I'm just not very good at putting them down. So guys, take care of yourselves. We'll catch each other hopefully very soon on another video. What are we got coming up next? So Gav looks around his bench. I've got some more naps. I've got to do some final painting to the Paul Becker's build tomorrow when I do the antenna for the lav. So yeah, we'll have a reveal of the lav coming up in a couple of days. We'll have an unboxing of the Grad tomorrow hopefully, and we'll just go roll along, see what comes up. You look after yourselves. These are dark times, and you know, I feel for everybody that's either going through it badly or is, you know, locked in. Whatever, it's not good. But what is good is the goodwill of the people out there, whether it's in the wider community or on ours here. Try and look out for each other. So you take care of yourselves. We'll catch each other very soon on another video. Cheers.